What is the stupidest conspiracy theory you've ever heard? Hands down best conspiracy out there is former flat earth. In a nutshell, earth is round, obviously, but it used to be flat. In fact, it was flat right up until it was hit by the meteorite which wiped out the dinosaurs. See, the impact folded the flat earth round into a ball, and the dinosaurs? They're doing just fine, because they live inside the earth. I wish I was making this up. Formula 1 cars amongst many other engine-powered vehicles including airliners don't have engines and are powered entirely by releasing air out of pressurized tanks. There are few videos on YouTube by people who appear to genuinely believe this. Not knowing how engines work is understandable, but thinking that it would even be possible to convince everybody of such a massive, easily disproved and pointless lie is insane. That we bombed Hiroshima to destroy the alien base underneath it. That the auto detailing industry controls the width of parking spaces and makes them narrow so they get more business fixing dents. Met a guy who believed ships float because there are unknown powers within the ship that make them. That McDonald's puts baby meat in their burgers. There are people alive that believe that there are aborted fetal cells in Coke and bull semen in Red Bull. The stupidest conspiracy theory I've ever heard is that Australia does not exist and is just a small island part of New Zealand. Also, planes that are going to Australia are supposedly filled with gas that makes you think that you're in Australia and they go to a small unknown island off the coast of England and the planes take you there. Also, it's supposedly made to cover up for the massive amount of convicts that drowned in the sea so that England's reputation isn't ruined. Last but not least, it's also called the greatest unknown genocide of all time. We are all secretly high on air, and drugs are the only way to see life the way that it actually is. I'm gonna leave out the classics like chemtrails and whatever those people believe, but I used to work at Lush for a few years and at least once one week, I had customers tell me, "What's causing cancer this week?" Once a woman asked me about our shampoos, so I showed them to her. She asked specifically for one without sodium lauryl sulfates, which makes sense if you have dry ass curly hair like myself, but hers was straight and greasy. She just didn't want them cause cancer, and back then we still had one. So I showed it to her, mentioned that the base is basically banana puree, and she looked at me with the most shocked face I've ever seen in the store and said, "Do you even know how dangerous bananas are?" That the only reason this post was made was so that a secret organization could get a particular post to the top and make sure as many people as possible will see it as a stupid conspiracy theory, when it's actually true. Barack Obama is Osama bin Laden in disguise. After the Columbine shooting, there was a conspiracy that there was an organized group of goth kids that were going to shoot up every school. Plus apparently video games cause violence. As a fan of the Mario franchise, I did have an urge to throw turtles at blocks though, but was rewarded when money would pop out. Paul McCartney died in a car crash in 1966 and was replaced by a look-alike. My friend believes that there are aliens from Pluto that have invaded, and they are made in Area 51. They get to Pluto by flushing themselves out of the plane on flights to Las Vegas. Yeah, not the smartest. The moon landings were faked so people wouldn't know about the aliens on the moon. And the Vietnam War was faked to hide the war against the aliens on the moon. Finland doesn't exist. Those people actually live in East Sweden. There is nothing but ocean where Finland is supposed to be. That HIV is a fake disease, created by the government to kill gays and heroin addicts. Granted, that's the extreme fringe end of the movement, whereas most AIDS denialists simply believe HIV doesn't actually cause AIDS, and that you can survive AIDS symptoms if you refuse to take the medicine, which they believe makes it worse. They believe AIDS exists, but HIV doesn't cause it, and they claim HIV tests and AZT drugs were developed by Big Pharma to destroy people's immune systems with toxins. The Foo Fighters used to endorse this belief up until the 2000s, and even had a charity concert for AIDS denialism. That the Chinese pump our food supply up with diabetes. Supposedly it's why Americans are so fat. Our beef and pork is full of Chinese diabetes. They launder the animals through Canada and led them through the border illegally. Literal cow caravans. It's why America doesn't allow much dairy from Canada. That a swallow can carry a coconut. Some people claim that it could grip it by the husk. But it's not a question of where he grips it, it's a simple comparison of weight ratios. A 5-ounce bird cannot carry a 1-pound coconut. An African swallow might be able to carry it, but not a European swallow. Gravity only exists because we believe it, and the graviton was thought into existence basically. It's the same reason Australia only exists if we believe in it. The minute you'll realize a continent like Australia is on the bottom half of the planet, you fall off the earth. And I know what you're thinking. What about South America? Well, trees emit oxygen which pushes you up, and South America has many trees because rainforest. And now you're thinking, what about penguins? Simple. They're birds, so they're always flying up really fast, so they just look like they're standing on the bottom of the planet. The minute they stop flapping their wings, they'll fall off too. I had an ex-teacher that was convinced that Jewish bankers manufactured AIDS to depopulate minority communities. Also, that there was no such thing as Islamic terrorists, and any Muslim terrorist group or attack was actually Mossad launching a false flag operation to diminish global sympathy for Palestine. Yep. She included 9/11 in there. We, her Jewish students, found this state of affairs very awkward. She didn't work at that school much longer. The retard question. It's the idea that mentally disabled people secretly control the media, banking, and politics, and they use their influence to force interbreeding to make every subsequent generation more and more retarded. I worked with a guy who believed the moon was hollow and the US government had fired rockets at it and it shook like a bell. I'm a Republican, but the fringe theory some people have that Michelle Obama is transgender is retarded. Furthermore, even if they were right, they're just being assholes and it doesn't matter. To me that would be like flaunting to everyone that the popular girl you knew on HS used to be a chubby kid and not naturally red blonde. Political polarization means people go to great, even conspiratorial, lengths to put down the other side. We often forget just how bonkers conspiracy theories got during the Obama administration. There was Jade Helm, a military training exercise that people believed was actually an operation where the Obama administration was going to launch an invasion of Texas. There were people that suggested Obama intentionally created Hurricane Sandy and or directed it to hit where it did to secure re-election. Just ignore the part where Hurricane Sandy hit predominantly liberal areas, which seems like a pretty bad way to secure re-election just 1 week before the election, given how it would have disrupted voting in those areas. Basically every mass shooting under Obama had a conspiracy suggesting was a false flag orchestrated to be a justification to take everyone's guns. There are those that still believe Michelle Obama is secretly a man transgender. There were all the Obama is a secret Muslim conspiracy theories, which he was doing a bad job of keeping secret since all of the evidence always presented around would have been pretty outward facing, claiming his ring had an inscription from the Quran as well as him taking the oath of office on the Quran. Obama's FEMA lol was going to open up concentration camps and place political dissenters in them. Obama is a demon, the Antichrist, possibly even the devil himself. And of course, the not born in America thing. A lot of these were relegated to the fringes in places like InfoWars, but some of these like birtherism ended up getting paddled in mainstream outlets like Fox News, so they were shockingly widespread. I once had a man look me dead in the eyes and tell me that he believes that the moon is fake. The moon landing couldn't have happened because the moon is just a giant beach ball in the sky that the government keeps up there. That Donald Trump was actually a plant by the Democrats and he is controlled by Hillary, who rigged the elections to make him win. Because let's just assume for a second she did have the power to rig the elections. It makes so much more sense to do that rather than just rig it for herself to win. Geez, where to begin? Homosexuality was created to feminize white men. This was actually said to my daughter during an argument about LGBT rights. The sheer stupidity of it did manage to render her speechless a good 25 seconds and nearly unheard of, featuring Toby Shaw. The fact that it was her own father that said it sucked, though second one would be the Paul McCartney is dead. I guess people still buy into it. TV satellites in space are fake because all TV dishes face south and satellites can't be stationary when they should have said geostationary. But the dude they asked why they face south said it was just stationary and assumed that they knew he meant geostationary, I guess, and that it would have to fall. I will have to find the video because I couldn't get their point. Has to be one of the crazy ones from when Alex Jones was on Joe Rogan's podcast. He claimed that there were human goat hybrids that the government uses to harvest organs. Shortly afterwards he claims that the reason late-term abortions were legalized is because the hospitals are allowing mothers to birth their children and then claiming the children died during childbirth, so that they can sell their organs. The fact that people take that not seriously blows my mind. My mom is a bit of a religious nut. She told me she believes there's a conspiracy that the media is encouraging white people to come out as homosexuals, that way they can't have children and the white population will drop. She sent me a link to this guy's information and everything had been deleted. Any conspiracy theory that makes someone conclude must have been aliens because of their own lack of imagination. There is a German satirist who claimed as a joke that the city of Bielefeld does not exist. It's actually a city in the middle of Germany with 332 inhabitants. To this day, he receives emails from people who believe him and ask for more info or provide further evidence. Ex-girlfriend thought Sandy Hook was a hoax by the Obama administration. Are you telling me that you think hundreds of school kids, an entire town of adults, every major news outlet in the US was in on it, and to this day no one involved has leaked? Fuck you, Alex Jones. I hope there's a hell, cause I hope you rot in it. Things didn't go well with the ex after I found out she liked Alex Jones. Thanks for listening, my little ice cream sandwiches. Subscribe to Radio TTS for more videos like this.